Okay, this hangout is live on air.
Woo! Hey!
Or is anyone watching? It says
3 are waiting.
But is it? This is take 2. Okay, here it is.
Here we go.
Okay.
Spooky.
Oh no, we're gonna hit mute on that because I don't want to hear myself at
a delay.
That was freaking me out when we were testing this out the other day.
Okay.
Okay, hey,
you guys can hear us?
Hello.
Is anybody there? Okay. Sad shoe calling my
Hello.
Okay. Yay. Sorry for that. My bus broke down because of course it did.
If I was better,
and then I had to run from the bus stop to home in the unhealthy wet Seattle smoke weather.
Yeah.
Because British Columbia is on fire.
Rip.
And, that's I don't know what the change of elevation is when you go up Capitol Hill.
It's uphill, yeah. So yeah, that was fun. I couldn't breathe when I got home. I had to take a moment.
Well, just think cold thoughts. Think about how if it snowed here, Capitol Hill could be all snowy and you could sled down.
That would be nice.
Yeah. And then you die. Oncoming traffic.
But the part before the death would be fun, and that's what matters.
Yeah. That's what matters.
Yes. I guess I should actually look at the camera occasionally.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
So yeah, breathing is hard.
Breathing's always hard.
But
very hard.
Yeah.
Anyway,
like, seriously, the smoke is terrible.
Welcome to our live chat for season 1.
Yes. The actual reason we're here.
Yeah. This is what I do during recordings, is to be like, okay, let's do the next part. But yeah, I'm Jesse Shushu. I write Tides. This is Ayla Taylor.
I produce it and do all the stuff.
And also on this channel,
I'm Bridge. I get the sounds and the audio drama and the feed on time.
Yep.
Woo!
Yay!
So should we start out kind of talking about ourselves, or like?
Well, I think I want to start out with thanking everyone for being really awesome and supporting us with the finale and everything, which was amazing, the response to the finale. You guys are all amazing.
Yes.
We love you.
We love you all.
Yes.
Especially Bridge.
Yes.
But the rest of you too. Once you guys actually start contributing to this project, then,
hey, a lot of them are patrons, and we love them. We love all of them.
That is true.
But ignore him. He's a jerk. We have some questions that people.
But I think we should start out by talking about ourselves and who we are, because it says it on our website, but like now you get to see our faces.
Yeah.
But do you want to go first, or should I go first because I'm the one pushing for it?
I'll go first because I'm the most important.
Yeah, okay. That's fair.
Respectable.
So I'm Ayla. I don't know what I do. What do I do? I am currently doing boring administrative stuff for my job, but I do linguistics for what I really want to do. And
#yay linguistics.
Yes, linguistics is best. Yeah, I'm good at making things happen, which is what I'm the one who got Jesse into audio drama and was like, that story you wrote a while back would make a really good audio drama. Let's do this.
Yes. Okay. So I'm Jesse. Ayla didn't mention this, but we both went to the University of Pennsylvania, and that's where we met.
Yes.
Ayla studied linguistics. I studied biological basis of behavior, which is a made-up major, mashing a bunch of different things together. But yeah, so I have some biology background, which I kind of wanted to use for something, since I also work in an administrative position in an insurance company. Blah, 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 blah. And what?
Jesse looks like a young
No!
Everyone always tells
Michael Sarah. Are you Jesse Eisenberg sometimes, but now it's just Michael Cera. I'm pretty sure Michael Cera is like our age. Or no.
He's definitely older than us.
Oh, no, he's much older than us. Never mind. Okay, I'm bad at that.
We just think of it because I remember older movies.
Yes. Okay, but anyway, Tides was a short story that I wrote that we adapted into an audio drama a couple of years after we graduated, and we were like doing whatever jobs and stuff. And I'm so glad that we were able to make it into something and like get other voices in there and like other input on it. Just made it into much better than it was originally.
It is the lovely Bridge.
Hello.
Say something, Bridge, so you see you.
Yes,
Hello.
Talk about yourself, Bridge.
Oh, I guess it is my turn now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm Bridge, or Bridget, mostly Bridge in the podcast sphere. Way back in yonder year of 2012, one of my high school friends walked up to me before school started and was like, "You need to listen to this thing that I've got on my phone. It's called a podcast. It's called Welcome to Night Vale. I think you'd really like it." And then I didn't have a phone that could listen to podcasts then. I had a flip phone.
Oh, we both had flip phones when we were in college and stuff.
Started college.
Yeah.
By the time we ended college,
So I ended up just listening on her phone, and then I got an iPhone, and I was like, cool, I can download podcasts now, and I only listened to Night Vale because I didn't want to branch out. And then I fell out of Night Vale because it was like, oh, it's the same thing over
like
and over and over again.
Yeah, around episode 60, I think, is where I stopped. Yeah.
And then just last year, in the heat of the Indiana summer, I was like, I tried podcasts once. I should try them again. And it went downhill from there. And now I'm here.
It went uphill. I mean, I guess uphill would be bad because that's hard, but you know what I mean.
Going uphill and downhill are both bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It went good.
It went good from there, and now I'm here. And I
Bridget's voice is adorable.
And I edit for another show that's going to be coming out eventually. And I'm in an audio editing course this semester where I'll probably make a lot of things that I might put online.
That's cool.
It's a portfolio building course, I guess. So I'm hoping I'll just get to make a bunch of audio dramas.
Cool.
Yeah, just like little short ones probably, but yeah.
Yeah. Just build up your portfolio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Thank you, Saya, by the way.
Thank you. Making people nerds since 2012.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so do we want to start with a couple of the questions people sent in? Maybe the first one's pretty good. What's your favorite thing to do in/for the show?
And see, Jesse and Ayla were smart and typed up their responses to the question.
Yeah, like notes
I'm
for the responses.
blind.
I mean, like, otherwise I wouldn't remember what I was supposed to say, and it would say something that was wrong.
It's over there.
Just a second. Where is it?
I don't know. Oh, wait, no, it's right here. Never mind.
Wow, making me walk away made you remember.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to bring up those questions there on my phone. Then you have it on your phone, so we can still see the...
So we don't actually have to...
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So what's your favorite thing to do /in the show? Can I start?
Yeah.
Because I'm just gonna read verbatim from my phone. No. My favorite thing to do in the show is mostly sticking in as many puns as possible. Occasionally
Jurassic Park references.
Yes, Jurassic Park references, poop jokes. There's not as many poop jokes later on, but we definitely start out with some poop jokes. Let's see. I love description, so I put that in there a lot, and I love doing the director's commentaries too. because then I get to talk about all the stuff that Ayla made me cut because it's too long-winded and boring. But that's not true. And yeah, so like mostly what I do is the writing parts. So
Yes.
what do you do, Ayla?
My favorite part is definitely going through the raw audio and like choosing the takes that are good. Partially because I get to go through all the silly takes and get to remember all the silly conversations we had between the takes, because our cast is very silly, and oftentimes I end up laughing again going through it. Well,
Oh, Thea, you can always send, just like put a question in the chat.
Yeah, put it in the YouTube chat. We've got an eye on the YouTube chat. We're doing a Wolf 359 here.
Yeah, we had people send in questions, like people who couldn't make it to the chat and things like that. Yeah. So what's your favorite thing, Bridge?
I enjoy putting in the little editing goofs that I'm not sure anyone will notice. Like Riquette's running past the med bay, running past the comms room, and then turning around and coming back.
I mean, that was so good, partially because like it blends in really well.
Bit of editing that I did for episode 8. And then I also like putting Ayla gets the takes for the bloopers, and then I put them all together. And so I like making the bloopers. I can't wait to make the bloopers for the recent mini-sode that we're editing right now, because I feel like we're going to keep... Well, we should put in the... we kept the take in, but we cut it off before it could finish. And I feel like we really need to put... Do you even know what evolution is, you motherfucker?
There was too much good stuff from that.
We won't
spoil.
But yes, that was a good line.
So very
that
good.
we cut. It didn't fit, but it...
I mean, like, well, it was long.
Yeah. I see a little question there that just says, "What's it like working with Zach Fresco?" He's really, really nice. At first, we were really scared. But he's really nice, so it's not so bad.
I've got a thing in the bloopers because we had him on for a group recording of episode 8, and we've got one of Julia going, "Oh no, we've typecast Zach again."
He's not evil this time.
We didn't typecast
him. We just cast him
as a funny authority dad.
Yeah,
but he's not evil.
Yeah,
he's not
like
good.
An evil funny authority dad. Or should be it. Okay, that's the name of our new podcast.
Evil funny authority dad.
Yeah. It's just Zach Bresco monologue. I bet we could get it into.
Well, we have a couple questions. Bridge has some editing questions. There's some editing questions for Bridge.
Can you see the chat, Bridge?
Oh, yeah. Do I use... Well, usually, Ayla, I'll make a list of all the sound effects we need, and then Ayla will... God bless her soul, laboriously look through all of the different free sound libraries and send me a couple, and I'll be like, yes, these are good. Or sometimes I will make my own. I had one that I made that I really liked. It's called Fiddly Sound Effects. And it's just me with, I think, this and my nail clipper, which I don't know where that went, and I'm just like rubbing them together vigorously.
Yeah, so those are, you made some good mechanical noises. I think like button clicking or knob turning or
I think I used my fidget spinner for one of them, my fidget cube. But I don't know where that went. I used it for something and then I lost it, but it's here in this room somewhere.
So Foley work.
Yeah.
Which is a word I learned several months into making this podcast.
I aspire to get to the level of Foley work where I can use a small child's screams as something truly horrifying.
I see a question there that says, how do you record episodes? Do you have all of the actors in the studio together? We record remotely. So we had them all on a
sort of.
we have everyone on a hangout, a Google Hangout call together, and they record locally.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't have a studio. As you said, this is where we record. This is where we do the things right here with our bed behind us.
Yes. In our tiny apartment.
In our tiny apartment. Yeah, and yeah,
right
we
above
live
a bar, so not great for us recording ourselves.
Oh no, terrible for recording ourselves. Which it's nice and quiet tonight.
Yeah, kind of.
Maybe it's just early.
I don't know. Can you guys hear like the air conditioner running?
I know I got mine running, but
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, because we're in Seattle, Julia's in New York, James is in LA. People are all over. So
yeah. Jordan's in Boston, and Zach is also in
New York. And Emily's in London.
Yeah, London and sometimes China.
Which makes scheduling fun.
But it is really important to us that we do record kind of at the same time. It's not, I mean, like sometimes with certain bits you can kind of take it out separately and do it, especially if people's schedules don't match up.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like it really helps with the dialogue to have people going back and forth, and that's where a lot of the good dialogue comes from. Just because our actors having super good chemistry.
Yeah.
The thing is about all of our actors having super good chemistry and all of our actors just being really funny people in general is sometimes things go a little too far.
Yes. And
I'm not going to name names, but it usually starts with one person.
It rhymes with Bames Boliva.
Yeah. But
we get some really good stuff out of it. So
yeah, and it's a lot of fun.
Mind.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I look forward to recording all
some of the crazy goofs I write in, but a lot of them are also ad-libbed. I think it's about 75 written and 25% ad-libbed.
James
Joliva.
But so if you want to do one of the other questions that we had prepared, there's what are your inspirations for life forms and spawns? This is obviously a Jesse question.
Oh well, okay, well, if only we had Sarah on here, then the person who does our artwork and stuff, she would also have something to say about this probably. Okay, so for the most part, the inspiration for the animals and stuff kind of come from some things with Earth animals. So a lot of stuff is kind of built around the Snailians, which it's kind of weird that they don't come up until a little bit later. But basically, I had a fever dream like 4 years ago about this very specific type of alien, and then I kind of built a planet around that.
And then you put a story in it.
But no, I saw a really good True Facts video about polychaete worms. So if you guys want to know, I tweeted it, but I don't think anybody liked it. But whatever. If you guys want to get a good idea of at least the idea of what some of the things might look like, that has a lot of similarities. Also, like sea cucumbers. Sea hares, which are useful for a lot of things, including studying, learning, and memory, and just the astounding variety of life on Earth, and how freaking weird it all is. Basically, I had a fever dream. Is that Jack?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I see someone says, when the casting, did you already have the season ready now? Or did you cast first and then the rest of this? So, like, when we only had 3 episodes written, mainly because Jesse was starting to slow down writing, and I didn't want him to lose momentum.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, we gotta cast someone to make sure this happens. Otherwise, you're not gonna write it, and it's not gonna happen.
Well, and then, I think it picks up pace as well. So I think, like, that was kind of a necessary step. And then, like, reading through some of the stuff with Julia really made me rethink the character and a lot of, like, the interactions and stuff. And that, gave me a lot of momentum to finish the season.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were not prepared.
And then once Julia read episode 4, when Montague first appears, she was like, "So I know the perfect person to play Montague."
We're not telling you the sexualities of all the characters. Anyway,
we could, but I don't know.
I mean, we've talked about it.
We've talked about it.
I mean, okay, we can talk about it. I guess we have like canon kind of.
Yeah, I do want to just say I see Tiffany, one of my friends, in there who has read the original story and wanting spoilers about how it's different. You know how it's different. Obviously, Fred doesn't die at the end.
Basically, a rundown of the short story. The short story ends around episode 5. Come on, it's not really.
Yeah. Episode 5 happens, but also they die.
Yeah.
Also, it's Frederick Uris, and yeah, it's just it was written in a very different frame of mind.
It's very different from the original story.
Yeah. Yeah, but anyway,
back to
characterization first.
The sexualities of the characters, basically they're all queer in some way or another, except for Dr. Martinez, who is our token straight and hasn't showed up yet.
He's been mentioned a couple.
He's been mentioned, but
he's
the token straight.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Is it spoilery to mention his defining character trait? Can I mention his character trait?
You can mention his defining character trait, which is bees.
His defining character trait.
But anyway.
It's not really relevant. But yeah.
But yeah, it was important to have like a good variety of gender and sexuality in our cast and our characters. Also in our cast. And yeah, you guys will see more of that in the
minisodes, especially. Yeah.
I think it's worth mentioning that we're thinking about it, even if it hasn't come up necessarily canonically.
Yeah, I think in the official canon, it hasn't. In like the non-Patreon exclusive stuff, we haven't seen. But Fred is definitely bi, yes. which is come up in the Patreon exclusive stuff. But I realize hasn't actually come up in the main stuff because she's a little distracted. But yeah.
Okay, do we want to go through, do you want to grab a question? Okay, the next one is, did Fred go through different names during early development of Tides? Like I said before, Frederick Uris was the original protagonist. But partially just like Julia auditioned for the part, and we were like, oh man, this is great.
So we were like, okay, I guess the main character is a woman. Which is like, we weren't really attached to and we didn't really change anything. Some things kind of altered a little bit going forward, just like
I think her background and stuff, that is at least something that needs to be mentioned, but like otherwise her internal narration doesn't change a lot. She's mostly a scientist.
I see. What we chose the name Winifred with the nickname Fred with that because it's cute.
Yeah.
And we're like, I see a question asking if your cats will be any minisodes.
Definitely.
I can say yes. Yes, he will.
So 2 or 3 if we ever get to our other one. Special episode.
Oh yeah, but that's a different goal.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just mentioning it. Okay.
The next question is, do any of the characters besides Melissa have real life inspirations? Fun fact, one of the real life inspirations for Melissa is in this chat right now.
Bum, bum, bum. Melissa Lang is a combination of two of our friends.
And
as their first and last name.
Ended up being kind of like neither of them, but I think kind of like took the traits they had together.
Yes.
And like focused on those.
Whoa,
yes, Tiffany, it's spooky.
Anyway, but the other characters, like, when I'm going through and writing it, obviously when I'm trying to write something from a certain perspective, like I'll take aspects of my own perspective on things. A lot of that goes into Stevens. A lot of that goes into Fred. under certain circumstances. Not and other ones. I feel like she had some influences from other places.
So probably some of me.
A little bit of you, yeah. A lot of Julia.
Yeah.
And then the other characters.
I mean, like, I feel like, I don't know if you did intentionally, but I think when we've talked about, I personally relate to Montague a lot.
Yeah.
And I think we've kind of discussed that, so I feel like he's kind of ended up having some of me.
I mean, Montague is how I feel sometimes.
Yeah.
But definitely not. Most of the time I'm Steve.
Yeah. I see someone say, "What's everyone's favorite dessert?"
Ooh, I'm so hungry.
I don't know. I'm bad at those.
I love carrot cake with cream cheese frosting.
Yes.
Ayla made me a delicious carrot cake for my birthday one time. Oh, are you talking about the characters?
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jack, you can actually read that short story.
I think he keeps forgetting that.
I'm so hyped for the Patreon.
You have access to Patreon stuff, Jack.
Jack.
You're literally in the cast.
So by the way, Jack is a play character who hasn't shown on minisodes. He's in a couple of them.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
but,
they'll see. They'll see it together.
Yeah. Characters. I mean, like, it's not like a big spoiler.
No, but no need to focus on it.
Are we shaking our entire table?
Yeah, maybe.
What would take Jesse to feel comfortable enough to post those sketches of the Striborn Tree of Life for surfing? In the fan server should be aware of point that and all couple surfing as I'll throw a few sketches of it. I'm trying to figure out how to make everything work the way I want it to. I could just be it's like the Hephaestus. It's however big you need it to be, or is convenient for the plot. What is each character's favorite movie? Is that the question you want to?
Sure.
Okay, let's go for that.
Well,
Bridge, do you have any ideas? You haven't said anything I don't want.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Well, Fred's movie was probably Park.
Just because that's your favorite movie.
I have watched it a lot. That is a good question. I feel like I need to think about that more.
They weirdly like movies from the early 20th century and early 21st century and late 20th century, despite being in the late 21st century.
Yeah.
They like movies like for pretty old movies, all of them, weirdly. I don't wonder why.
Yeah, there's a question people haven't asked, but we've gone back and forth a bit over it. It's like, what year is it?
What year is it?
We were thinking like the 2090s.
Yeah, it's like
which is not that far in the future when I think about it. But like,
I think it's about good. That's when we kind of had it.
To make some advancements. Yeah, pretty quick.
Yeah.
To do that, but I think it works, especially with the references and like.
Yeah. So we have discussed that we're already in the movies. We have discussed that there are probably a lot of There were probably a lot of movie nights on the Strybog going on their way to Fonz.
Yeah.
That probably they
probably watched a lot of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Which is why they make Star Trek references.
I personally think that Montague and Fred are both people who talk over movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree that Riquette's probably probably a war movie, but it has a very strong romantic subplot, and that is the most of the movie. But if anybody walks in while he's watching it, there's bombs going off and stuff.
I don't think it's just your dad.
Oh no, but Riquette is my dad. No!
Oh
no! That sounds like your dad.
Yeah.
I see Tiffany has the question of what's the process and recording this been like? How's it different from what you expected?
How's it been different for you?
I don't really know what I expected. We just kind of It's gone much more surprisingly better than I expected. It's gone really, really great.
You go, Jesse.
Oh no, I was just about to ask Bridge, since you've worked on other audio dramas and stuff. What's your kind of perspective on our process? Because we have no content.
I know scheduling was a lot easier when it was just us and Julia, because we only lived in the 2 time zones. And then we brought James in, and James lives in your time zone, but has a completely opposite schedule.
Yeah, because he's nocturnal. And
what do you mean? James is an old man.
Oh yeah. But I don't.
Yeah, every night or every Thursday.
Thursday night, and it was just so easy.
Just did a couple hours of recording, for the first
all these monologues.
Yeah, all those monologues, and then we had to go and bring in other people. But now we're people seem to like the other characters, so we have to keep them.
Damn. No.
Dog blows up 2nd season. Everybody dies.
Jesse, shh! You'll give away our secrets.
Too bad. Anyway, then I could just have all the same voice actors, but they can voice aliens, and then we hear their inner monologues. Which, fun fact about the short story, half of it is from Bob's perspective, except he has a weird alien name. And it's not good, guys. It's really not that good.
It's good. It's just really different.
Idea.
It's just really different. I think it's still good. It's just very different.
It hits that Isaac Asimov kind of a good idea, not very good dialogue and writing necessarily. That's harsh on Isaac Asimov.
Isaac Asimov.
Oh man, yeah. Robert Heinlein.
He's terrifying.
He has terrible prose.
Yes.
Okay,
I agree, Tiffany. It's a good story.
Okay, it's okay.
Tiffany read it back in college. Tiffany is our friend from college. Campanella. She wrote it back in college when he first wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good story. Let's go with one of the other questions.
What's up? There's a really long one, which we could answer parts of, which is mostly is a question of kind of about our backgrounds and why Winifred has the voice that she does and the kind of sciencey sounds and stuff. Which a lot of that is coming from me working in academia a little bit, volunteering in a sleep lab mostly, and stuff.
Going to a really competitive university.
Yeah, going to a really competitive university, reading a lot of books. Ayla, also smart person. Bridge, also smart person. All of our whole cast is smart people.
Although a lot of them don't know all the science words that Jesse does.
Well,
and he forgets that.
Yeah. Well, so first episode's stromatolite. Oh man.
Julia, I still have to put together. I have to re-download all those files and put together the stromatolite saga.
Oh, like a supercut of the stromatolite. Yeah, we talked about doing that a while back.
Yeah.
But things like stromatolite, also a lot of just words that I can't think of good. Oh, so there's a word that in episode 6, the word gunk comes up a few times. I originally wrote gung.
Not a word.
But that is a real word for something similar to gunk.
It's
nobody else believes me, and you're making me feel
not real. It's okay,
babe. I'm delusional or something.
Just gonna casually gaslight you on this word.
It's a real word. Maybe it's a Ohioan dialectical thing. Dialectical thing.
I don't know.
I don't know linguistics.
Sounds fake to me.
Ayla, the linguist. That word sounds fake.
You can't tell me the word sounds fake. If I use it in a conversation, then it's not a fake word.
Sure, whatever.
Okay. Also, kind of the sciencey how the solar system is set up was also part of that super long question, which is a good question. Just a lot of bits. So you got a star. I think I named it Kresnik 85, which is Kresnik is another like the Strybog. It's a Slavic deity associated with fire, whereas the Strybog's associated with like wind and storm and stuff. So these. But you got that star. That star is basically like the sun. So we don't have to deal with like radiation differences and stuff like that. Then we have a gas giant at about 1 AU from the star. That's Volturnus. Volturnus is pretty big. I think I said like 6 or 9 Jovian masses. I think it was 6. But like right on the edge of being a brown dwarf, not quite there yet. So it gives off some infrared radiation and has a very, very strong magnetic field, which is fucking with all sorts of stuff. Then we have Fons. So Fons was originally a interior kind of rocky planet, smaller than Earth, 3/5 gravity. So like I think even a little smaller than, or no, a little bit bigger than Mars. I don't
Look at me.
I don't remember. I didn't do enough research before doing this damn live stream. This is why every episode I spend like hours on Wikipedia making sure I didn't fuck anything up. But okay, it's like maybe like you can think of it at like around the orbit of Venus or something like that, distance from the star. Life starts on that planet. However, because you got this really big gas giant not that far away, every once in a while, gravitationally, it kind of nudges it. And after a while, it throws off the orbit of Fons. Fons, freaks out, squiggles around. No, it's more like nice curves. But it ends up orbiting Volturnus. What this means, though, because of the way that works, Fons is orbiting in retrograde, which means it's going kind of backwards compared to the plane of the solar system, and that will have implications in the second season, or at least like in how I'm thinking about it and how I'm setting it up. Because right now they're on a ship to Juturna, which is another moon of Volturnus, but it's a little bit more, has a longer orbit than Fons.
And it's just like rocky.
Yeah, it's rocky. We'll see it.
Hear it.
It's also moving in the correct direction. I forget what it's called, but not retrograde. So they're kind of moving away from each other, which is, I realize I kind of implied in the episode 8 that that wasn't the case, but that's actually going to have to be the case. I ran some of this past our friend Melissa, and she was like, well, that sounds okay, and also, whatever you need to do to make the story work. I'm like, that's not helpful, astrophysicist.
The other inspiration for the character Melissa, named Melissa, is an astrophysicist.
Yes.
So yeah, that's a little preview of the science I have to cut out.
I put a lot of that in episode 5.
I know.
I just don't think anybody remembers because it's just kind of if it's like character sexualities and identities, or and I don't know what B99 is.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, okay.
You know that.
I prefer showing rather than it comes up.
Some of them they say what they, some of them they don't. I just kind of depend on what fit. Characters in the situations.
Like you don't always go around talking about your sexuality all the time, but we did try to get a mention.
See, this is evidence that you are straight. I say with my like bi flags everywhere.
Just gently pet.
Mostly straight.
Okay, mostly straight. Okay.
Not all the way at the end of the spectrum, but
we kind of fitted. Like I don't think Fred ever says that she's bi, but she talks about dating men and women.
Yeah.
But I think we have a reference to demisexuality at one point.
Yeah.
For a different character.
For
a different
and
character.
Also the character of Erickson.
For Erickson,
they are a they and
being non-binary. They mentioned to use they them pronouns, despite they them or she her, because they're originally going to be a woman, but then we cast a non-binary actor, so we decided to move that.
So we did have a reference to she earlier on it.
But we figured they go back and forth just to make it seem like retcon that because that was written before we cast Phoebe. But yeah, and I think we have a couple of puns.
Puns.
The Ace Pilot joke.
Oh yeah, there's an Ace Pilot joke, which I feel like we should just let it go.
It's in season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a spoiler. Forget it.
And we also have some talks about it in the minisodes.
That's but yeah, a lot of the stuff comes up in the minisodes, basically.
It's not like a spoiler or anything.
Yeah, it's not like a spoiler. I think we just don't want it. It's not like a focal point of the story, so we don't want it to. We don't want to brag about the representation before we've actually had it.
Yeah, we want to show our work and stuff.
I think that's the main reason we're not like everyone's queer, even though because it hasn't really shown up yet. So we haven't. Yeah, we don't want to brag about the representation before it shows up.
Anyway, let's move on to the next one. What is everyone's favorite sea creature, real or on the show? And are there any weird facts, space, ocean, science in general, that you found that aren't used in the show? That's such a broad question, guys. Well, my favorite sea animal is also Fred's favorite sea animal, which is the sea hare, which we spend altogether too much time in neurobiology electrocuting. So they're really beautiful, or at least very cute. They look like a little rabbit slug. But we spend a lot of time, because they have really big axons, because they have really big neurons, we electrocute their siphons, and they pull in the siphon really quick. And we use that kind of to test sensitization and also desensitization. So if you keep doing that, they pull back in less because they just kind of get used to it because they've been electrocuted so many times. But you can also desensitize them depending on where you're doing the shock, because it's complicated because of inhibitory neurons. And Tiffany definitely knows a lot about this.
Yeah.
Because she was in the same class as me. But react to it more, which is an important concept with learning. If you keep doing something to somebody, either they'll get used to it, or they'll react more strongly to it. Oh yeah, Tiffany doesn't remember it, and that makes me feel a lot better.
I think you were more into it.
I was really into my animal behavior class. I wish I had done more animal behavior stuff instead of trying to focus on psychology and biology. So.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any facts you want to share?
Well, I don't know as much about sea creatures and stuff, but since I've been running the social media for Tides,
neuroethology. That's what it is called.
But since I've been running the social media for Tides, I have really enjoyed nudibranches because they're so pretty.
They're very pretty. Yeah.
Also, I've developed a deep appreciation for octopuses because they're really cool. But that's mostly from just finding things on social media. But yeah. Someone asked if we played Subnautica. I have not, but I've heard about it, and I've been meaning to. Because people have recommended to us on multiple occasions, but I barely have time to play video games anymore, and it makes me sad.
Yeah. Oh, so
and when I do play, usually I end up playing Stardew Valley because it's relaxing.
Yeah, I play a lot of Terraria, unfortunately, just because I like building houses, and
he's been playing that for years.
For years, I have like I have probably like 2,000 hours on it now. But anyway, Ayla and Bridge, since you guys have a linguistics background, is there any linguistics facts that you would like to include in the show that you haven't told me yet?
I don't know. I can't come up with things off the top of my head.
Use your science.
I took like a whole class on creating a language. The problem is that we had to create the language assuming that the people would be able to vocalize all the same sounds that humans can.
Exactly. I had a very similar class.
So even while I could start to put together like very specific sounds for certain meanings for Bob and the other Snailians, I wouldn't even know where to start.
A audio drama idea that maybe someday something will come of it that involves alien languages and stuff. We'll see if anything ever comes of that, because it's a lot of work that would be involved in it.
Yeah, so like with Tides, like I want to put more language stuff in there, but I also kind of created a situation where it's kind of impossible.
And I have a lot of advice on like what she would be able to pick up just by like how human language works, although also assuming that
I mean, either way, she's going to be at the very...
also, she's not a linguist.
Yeah, she's not a linguist, but if she does start to attempt to somehow communicate with Bob in the vibration way that Snailians communicate, she's going to be in the repeating and replicating stage.
Yes,
and we talked about this a lot, is probably sometime in season 2, she's going to see that the squeogs kind of like squeal at the shells and the shells open. And then she's going to be like, oh, I can try that. And it's basically...
we have some...
Oh, yeah.
It's basically about the equivalent of a human barking, and she's essentially going to be barking at them to open the door.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, man, I have to go back into season 2, actually, and adjust a few things.
Yeah. No season 2 talk.
Okay.
Someone asked how old is each of the characters. We don't have a set, like, exact age.
We have some ballparks.
We have some ballparks, though. I think mostly Fred and Montague are, like, mid to late 30s.
Yeah. Old enough to have their PAs and be relatively established. Maybe not, like, well-established.
But, they're, like, rising stars in their field. Melissa's a few years older. As you've seen in one of the many episodes, she was Fred's TA in college.
It's adorable. The assistants are all like late 20s, early 30s. Maybe like just got their PhDs.
They like just got their PhDs right out of grad school, kind of.
Which like something that we kind of went back and forth about, like whether they would be grad students or, but like you know.
I think they all do have PhDs, but some of them are very recent.
Yeah, yeah. Because like it's important to note that like once you get your PhD, that doesn't mean you're like Mr. Professor now.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta do a lot of shit.
Yeah.
You know, same with like medical degrees and stuff like that.
Ricketts
probably only has a.
Oh yeah, Ricketts only has a master's in engineering.
Yeah, he's the lay person.
He's so uneducated.
Yeah. Yeah, Riquette's being both the mom friend and the dad friend. Honestly, I see him more as the mom friend than the dad friend, whereas Melissa is more of the dad friend.
And then she's the harsh one.
Yeah.
And Riquette's is the like, I will take care of you. In like the
which is going to be important for both of them.
I think Riquette's a bit older, probably mid to late 40s.
What is Tiffany laughing about?
Possibly the mesh of the Yang shift. Yeah. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Chad asked, was there a theme or a story that you used as the guide for season 1? What was the theme for season 2?
Robinson Crusoe. Not Robinson Crusoe, surprisingly enough. Or else, like, things would have been a lot easier. She would have been like, this is my squeog that I've trained to bring me food. And also, like, I built a house. I built several different complicated houses in various areas. I have like a great farm.
Robinson Crusoe.
Robinson Crusoe annoys me because everything's just so fucking easy. Or at least, like, he's just so capable all the time. He's like, oh, I found a bunch of grapes growing around here. Oh, I tried to carry them back and they don't carry well. They get all smashed. I'll make a bunch of raisins. And then like he makes like trail mix, and then like he domesticates goats, and like I don't know. Robinson Crusoe annoys me. More of the thematic inspirations comes more from like Jules Verne, H.G. Wells a little bit. Especially for season 1, and that'll change a little bit in season 2.
Probably going a little
more into Heinlein, Asimov.
A little Le Guin too.
A little bit Ursula K. Le Guin. I'm kind of saving Ursula K. Le Guin influences.
Oh yeah. Yes. She's her influence is
definitely my favorite sci-fi writer, Ursula K. Le
Guin. Yeah.
Because she does really good social sci-fi and. Be honest, it's not Gilligan's Island.
It's too easy on Gilligan's Island.
Well, I've never seen Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not gonna be Gilligan's Island because she will get off the planet. And we realize that like it seems like from the last episode that she's never gonna get off the island. It's just gonna keep bad things keep happening. But that just happened once. We just had to do that once. As far as you guys know.
Don't give spoilers.
Yeah.
But
this is me lying to them.
Oh yes. She's
lies.
But yeah, I think we have kind of thematic ideas for each season. We're not going to obviously go into what the later seasons are going to be.
The first season, I think we can talk about.
We can talk about thematic ideas for the first season, but not the other ones.
Okay.
The first season had the short story up until episode 5.
Yes. Up until episode 5. There's some changing in themes in that because like short story up until episode 5 of the first season, very much about isolation and a little bit about survival, but I honestly made her survival as easy as possible because
you didn't want her to actually die.
I don't want her to actually die. Like, okay, you can breathe the air. She has a thing to clean water with, and she has food, even if she doesn't like it. And like other than that, she just has to not get killed, and like she'll be fine. It's not fun, but like at least she's alive. But it's more so about isolation. And also just like, I don't know, I don't want to get too deep into themes because there is some deep, deep stuff.
That you don't want to... that are spoiler.
Not necessarily spoilery a little bit. I will say it is ultimately about interpersonal relationships. And there's importance with Fred losing her sub, the Jacqueline. I thought it was Jacqueline, but Julia called it the Jacqueline, so I don't know. But she loses her sub. She loses her suit helmet. But then she gets her sub back, and it's broken, and it's changed, but she gets it back. And I think that's important in like she needed to lose some of the layers between herself and the environment and the world and, dare I say, other human beings. But while you need to deconstruct like those kinds of artificial separations between us and the world, they should have killed Gilligan. While you need to reconstruct that, I'm also trying to reconstruct it to be like, she needs a place where she, you know, a place from which she can view the world that's safe to some extent, even if it's weird and it takes in, and that kind of shell, but shell. I don't know why I said the dumb, but that kind of shell takes in aspects of the world around it, and it helps her see it better. And there's also like a lot of themes with like seeing, where like she gets to a point where she can either keep herself separate from the environment, or she can actually be able to see things. And I think that's really important. And yeah, the thing, like, she starts out just super conscious about like contaminating things, because if you think about it, like, you have a completely closed system of this alien planet and stuff. If you could keep that closed in any way, like through any means that you can, if you can keep that like isolated, that's such a good like kind of a test case for thinking about life in general. Because like life on Earth, we don't have a control group, we don't have anything outside of our own context to look at when it comes to like life. Mm-hmm. So, you know, she really wants to preserve that. But unfortunately, you know, she's already there. Right? She's already messing things up. Or maybe not messing things up, she's already part of it. And yeah, so that's one of the main steps. There's other stuff too. I put in some like elemental kind of imagery and like.
This is basically like, all we talk about.
Yeah.
We'll be
for
like
months.
We'll be like
for
on
a year.
We'll be like on a date or something, and we'll just be like talking about tides and like themes.
Yeah,
and
it's
tides.
only been keeping us together at this point.
But yeah, we talk about tides way too much. We need to like occasionally be like, okay, no tides talk, no themes, nothing.
Yeah. But
yeah, I'm gonna bet.
Superman.
Yeah, that's guys not.
McLovin it.
I think that's yeah.
Who's this Mixzilla person?
I think they're
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't actually look at what they were saying.
They were being not a good participant.
Okay. Well then, sorry, dude. I didn't actually fit.
Next time, maybe their first message should be something more kid-friendly. Our show's got a lot of swearing, but we don't enjoy talking about jacking off.
Oh, I was not paying attention.
I saw that a little late, but I was like...
Yeah, I wasn't looking at the chat at all, so sorry about that, guys. Anyway, there's very little jacking off in our show. There's none.
We may have a crew full of monster fuckers, but our show does not support monster fucking.
No monster fucking allowed.
None. It doesn't make sense, and it's gross, and you probably get an allergic reaction.
But
Jesse Senpai to notice them.
Yeah, they were being inappropriate. But yeah. What is another question?
Okay. Let's have a Yahoo. Sorry. I'm sorry, but this is a lot of it in memory, so I can't get it out of my head.
They asked questions, details about the Starbox automation system, AI.
Okay. Where is that? Oh, okay. I do have an answer for that. So somebody asked about somebody asked about like the AI and automation and that sort of thing. That is not an idea that I'm going to explore on this show. And the reason for that is, I mean, like, I think it's a really cool concept to think about. Honestly, I think other people have kind of done a lot of conceptualizing about that better than I would.
We just don't want to focus on it.
Yeah, it's not really the focus. And the thing I was thinking about with it is like, because somebody asked the question, and so that made me think about why don't I want that on there? It's partially because like it's a very top-down kind of backwards in terms of what I'm trying to think about. In that it's like you start out with a person, and then you're like, okay, this is a person. Like Hera on Wolf 359, it's definitely a person. This person is constructed differently, so how does this make them different as a person? Whereas what I'm trying to do is take something that's kind of going from the other direction, where like, how do I build up something completely different, an animal, into being a person? Or something non-human into the level where it is a person, something that's definitely different. And that's kind of more the idea I was trying to
I feel like you could do that with an AI, but you'd have to really focus on it.
Yeah, it would have to be like a really technical kind of thing about AI, which the Swedish show Real Humans, and I think it's now British show Just Humans or something like that.
Yeah, no, something like that.
Something like that, but it does a really good job of like sentient machine kind of things.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Which I like that a lot, because it kind of starts out like there are some robots that are like magically sentient, but there's also some that are not. They just have like random glitches and stuff, but it makes them act in a way that you're like, how is this different than a person with, you know, maybe some flaws or some disabilities or something like that, but how is this different from a person? Mm-hmm. So kind of breaking that down, that idea from a different direction. Yeah. But that's really cool. And yeah, ship AI. Also, you know, I'd have to hire another actor. But yeah.
Okay.
It's not that I don't like the idea. It's just not that not something that we're going to focus on.
Yeah. There's another one that says, can you give us vague one-phrase descriptions of the characters we haven't met yet? Well, we've done that already for
Dr. Martinez, which is bees.
Yes. Other characters, let me think. Well, in the chat, I gave everyone since I can change everyone's nickname in the cast chat on Discord, I gave the actor for Erickson the nickname Sneaky Bastard.
Sneaky Bastard.
Yeah. Damn that Erickson.
So that tells you a little bit about them.
Yeah.
The other two have not been cast yet.
But Marion Bronstein, the other assistant.
Yeah, Marion Bronstein.
Which is
Montague's assistant.
Has to deal with Montague.
Yeah. Yeah, I think has to deal with Montague.
Wyatt and Chai, basically the exact opposite of everything Montague embodies.
Yes, that was kind of what we were going for Montague's assistant. Part of why she has not been mentioned to this point, because she is not on Fred's radar with all the other people she has to deal with. And we already said
wait, what were you saying? Sorry, I got distracted.
Sorry, I got distracted as well.
What was the question? I don't remember.
Marion's not on Fred's radar because...
Yes, okay. Yeah. Well, Fred tends to keep to herself, and also, I mean, like...
She has to deal with everyone else, but...
She doesn't have to deal with Marion, so Marion's going to be... and Marion doesn't go out of her way to...
She's like, I'm okay not dealing with Fred, so they're not close. For that reason.
Mm-hmm.
But also, that doesn't mean that Marion doesn't have like her own stuff going on.
Oh yeah,
on the
Marion
ship.
has her own stuff.
Definitely
She definitely has her own stuff going on. It's just like
not on Fred's radar.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, one thing we forget with the first season is that it's very much from Fred's perspective, which is not necessarily
accurate.
I mean, it's not that she's a completely unreliable narrator, but she's a flawed person and a limited narrator.
Yeah.
But yeah, some people like Martinez and Marion.
Martinez obviously came up when.
And also Erickson just aren't people that she talks to a lot, so they'll show up more when we show more of the rest of the crew.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'd say she's talked to Erickson at least a little bit more since she knows about the betting pools.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all gonna be fun stuff coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I don't want to get like too much into it just because a lot of it will be shown. But yeah, because for some of the characters, which ones do you have in your show? This was also a question that somebody sent in. So I'd love to have LeVar Burton on our show. He could be the AI.
Yeah, LeVar Burton could be the AI. I'm sure we could get it.
I will only have an AI on the show if LeVar Burton voices it.
Okay.
I know there's so many good ones.
I always say I'd love to work with Christian DiMercurio, but I wouldn't be able to because the entire time I'd just be like, I'm gay! Because I have a huge crush on her.
I think if I could pick someone who's not already in the cast who I'd want on, I don't know. There are so many good voice actors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who plays Minkowski? Wolf 350. It's somebody.
What's her name again? I'm forgetting her name. Emma Shizarko.
Emma Shizarko.
I forgot her name. I'm terrible
with names. I'm bad with names. I'm much better with faces, which is why I do an audio medium stuff. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Anyway. Yes, Emma Shizarko would be great. I don't know. I don't have a role for her, but
you just like her.
I just like her. Who's some other ones? I mean, Jonathan Sims. The crypto naturalist guy, who I don't know his name.
We don't have roles for these people. We just like
make roles for them.
We just like them.
Yeah. We'll just
if we got Johnny, we'd make a role for him.
Yeah, you're like, hey, what if you like? He's just like the weird, spooky person.
No, even better. He's a bombastic space explorer.
Oh yeah,
that would be great. Playing against type.
Well, I think he has the other thing he does.
What is the other thing he does?
It's like
I don't know about this.
It's a band. It's the mechanisms. Thing. I'll send it to you.
Oh, okay. I'm bad with music. That's why our cast members are the ones who do the playlist for the characters. Because I wouldn't know where to start. By the way, Fred / the Main Tides one is really good.
Oh yeah, the playlist. It's really good. We listen to it. Yeah, I already did that.
Okay, you already.
That popped up a while ago.
Cool. I didn't see it. Okay.
I'm on top of things, babe.
Okay. We keep getting distracted.
Yeah, let's.
Okay, if you could do a crossover episode with and other audio dramas, which ones would you choose?
About typos.
I'm not. I was just reading what was written.
Well, the fun part about this question is that, maybe we've already thought about this.
Yeah, maybe they already are in the works. Who knows? We don't know the future.
We definitely can't, read some cards and see what's in the future.
So, that would be ridiculous.
No, that would be ridiculous. Anywho, I don't know why I even read that question because we can't answer it.
Yeah.
But I would love to.
There's a question that says Robert Montague vampire ? Question mark? Question mark? Question mark?
Okay, so it says question mark in words once, and then question mark.
Like several question marks after.
3 question marks.
Yes, Renee, I can tell that that's you. I know all your usernames.
Yes. And to answer the question, yes.
Yes.
Was he before he died?
That's the question.
Is it the reason he didn't die, or was it caused by him coming back from the dead?
We don't know. We don't know. That's like when we swerve off into a completely different genre there.
Yes. Well, okay. I not to spoil, but we go completely fantasy.
Yeah, you know.
Yes. Any books or movies that strongly impacted your world building process, either in terms of reference for the biology, etc., or just as inspiration? So for me, when I'm writing, one big influence, and it's not fiction, not really, but it's John Steinbeck's. There's a couple different forms. One form is the log from the Sea of Cortez, and one is just the Sea of Cortez. I've only read the log from the Sea of Cortez, which is more of the narrative part. But it's basically John Steinbeck talking about an actual trip that he went to the Gulf of California, which used to be called the Sea of Cortez, apparently. Him and his friend
Ed
Ricketts, who is nothing like the Ed Ricketts in our show, but is where
we stole his name.
I almost named their ship after their ship, but it doesn't have a great name. It's like the Western Flyer.
Yeah.
I mean, which is a good name. It's just not as cool as Strybog. So that is kind of the kind of like philosophical musing about life and biology in general, without getting into too much of the specifics. Which, trust me, I don't get it too much of the specifics.
Not nearly as much as he wants to.
Not nearly as much as I want to, or my anxiety thing tells me that I have to. There's just a lot of. It's just a really interesting book. It doesn't have much of a plot. It's really just the log as they're going along. They talk about. Oh, good night. We should probably wrap this up eventually. But they go around. They collect crabs. Specifically, what they do is they don't try necessarily as they try to get like a general sampling of the entire. Common crab. They describe it in a lot of detail because mostly them, which I find really fun. And they complain about things, and but there's a part where I'm getting too much into this, aren't I?
He really likes this book.
Okay. Anyway, it's a good book. You should read it if you're into biology and like have a lot of patience because it's a little dry. It's a very dry, but not sad like The Grapes of Wrath. I can't read The Grapes of Wrath. It's too sad, and I know it's going to be sad. I haven't actually finished it. It's just too sad. But
there's a quote from it on our website because it's a applicable quote.
Yeah.
Which I think it's advisable to look from the
tide pool to the stars, and then back to the tide pool.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of thinking about like thinking
relevant.
Of things in a microcosm, and like thinking about biological organisms and how that relates to how the universe works, and also like how we work.
Yeah.
Which is really there's also.
How would each character approach a person they're interested in, if they are? That we actually have that actually comes up in one of the mini episodes.
Yeah, you get to see that done by Fred, not very successfully.
Very unsuccessfully.
Yeah, as well as Montague. Well, not Montague.
No, Montague is Yeah.
Montague Ricketts is the one who makes the assumption.
Yeah.
Minisode.
Montague's like, what?
Oh, hey, Leah.
I don't do that really. Not that often, at least. But let's just say Fred's approach is, hey, I have a PhD. I'm real smart. Want to date me?
Fred is great. Fred is the person I want to be when I grow up.
Is she? Is she?
Fred is the person I want to have been a few years ago.
Yeah, that's.
And now grown past.
Yeah.
She also kind of is, but only a little bit. What was the other?
There was just general.
Oh, okay. Just generally, other characters approaching somebody that they like.
I know in the thing I wrote, Erickson was like, "Oh, how do I approach girl?"
There's a small romantic subplot with Erickson and Marion. Okay, sorry, I should have said that. It's small.
Yes. Yeah, we'll get into that. In the text.
Melissa doesn't really do that. So she's not relevant.
I feel like Dr. Martinez and his wife are probably both bee enthusiasts.
Yeah, they definitely met at like a bee convention.
And I don't think he could ever imagine being with anybody but Susan. She has a name. She is not on the ship.
No. Oh, and Stevens. I never thought about how Stevens and Emery would have got together. Stevens, of course, is the only character with a functional relationship.
I think
except for Martinez, but I assume Emery was the one who
initiated that.
Because I can't imagine Stevens being very good at flirting.
Yeah, backstory for Emery, which they're very interesting as well.
No, they're also not in the show, but they're like a backstory.
Person not appearing in this podcast. But they live on the moon, which comes up in the
Jesse just really likes the fact that they live on the moon.
Man. And we got so many good bloopers too when I was talking to Jordan about the moon.
Sure do love that gosh darn moon accent.
Yeah, I got my moon lasso. Catch Astros with. But it's good.
Jordan is a wonderful nonsense person, and we love him.
Yes, we love all of our actors equally. But some of them more equally than others.
There's a question that says, how similar are the actors to their characters, / how different are they?
For the most part, there's a lot of similarities.
But,
yeah, generally. Julia's better with people than Fred, I think.
She seems much better than people.
She can hide it better.
Montague is increasingly
more like James.
Yeah, he did get much more like James.
I mean, he was literally like, Julia was like, I know the perfect person to play this character. Yeah. And then he's just gotten more like James as things go on.
I was also thinking of suggesting James when I read episode 4. So Julie and I were like, perfect. Same brain.
Yes. But
since then, James has kind of become our honorary casting director.
Oh yeah,
he's really good at suggesting people.
He suggests people, and then it's like, oh wow, this is the best person for the role. Thank you for suggesting them.
Yeah. James. Yeah. We're gonna have to give him a credit as a casting director.
Yeah, he's really good at casting people.
Which we're gonna have to try not to go with his recommendation.
Not the best person.
Yeah. Gotta buck the trend. Can't let James get full of himself.
Someone asked
Will there be a musical episode?
Well,
I think we should address
that.
Oh yeah.
There already was an episode where there was singing.
So we're hinting at crossovers.
Yeah, let me just call up Jonathan right now. I'm sure. No.
Yeah, so yeah, there already was a musical episode. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, which but that was just a segue into like season 2 is all musical episodes.
Yeah, we're actually just like it's actually just entirely a crossover with Fall of the House of Sunshine.
Yeah, it gets kind of weird because like they're singing the songs in universe and other people like comment on it and stuff, but it doesn't really change the plot at all.
No, yeah.
But then it just keeps going until it becomes like they should have really addressed this. Why is this happening? But then it just keeps happening. Should have Evan Cunningham do your musical episode. Oh, is he the one who did the one in the night sessions?
Yeah.
Oh.
There was 3 musical parts.
Well, if you include
Count the
whistling.
Yeah.
Which I'm very glad that Julia could whistle.
Yeah.
Which I just sent Julia like a link to the YouTube video of Jaws where they're singing that song. It was like, hey, do you want to sing in the next episode? She was like, yes, because she likes Jaws.
Yeah.
I knew that song independently of Jaws.
But it's great because originally the idea was Fred wouldn't actually be a good singer, and then Julia started to sing, and we were like, fuck.
Yeah, you're like, she's a great singer. So like, I guess like Fred just kills it at karaoke.
Yeah.
Like just karaoke and just like just completely kills it.
No, yeah, we didn't know
that. She takes it very seriously.
Yeah.
Like they do karaoke and like Montague's like singing some goofy song and she's just like move over and belts something out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everyone's surprised.
To answer Liam's question here, we did not know that Julia could sing when we cast her.
I didn't know anything about Julia because I'm terrible at organization and knowing things before I do them. But yeah, like we kind of knew that she had her own show and stuff, but we didn't know that she could sing.
And it was wonderful casting her because she introduced us to everyone in the audio drama community, and she's wonderful, and we love her.
Yes, we love her.
There's another question of how do you balance scientific speech technical terms with explanation that non-science-oriented audience members can understand?
Can you say it more loudly? So.
How do you balance scientific speech and technical terms with explanations that non-science-oriented audience members can understand, particularly when the podcast is largely a scientist talking to yourself and other scientists?
Okay, so my response to this is, can you? Like, can you guys understand it?
Yeah, basically.
Like, I hope that you can, but I'm not sure.
He's like, do we do this well? The only reason we do this well is because I have to be like, Jesse, this is too much science here. Take this out.
Yeah. And after like we started recording with Julia and stuff, we were like, okay, these are parts that, you know, hearing them out loud, it really doesn't work, or it's not necessary to understand the story. So we just take that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep losing my train of thought because I keep looking at the chat. I don't remember what I was talking about.
Yeah, we've gotten better at figuring out the amount of science needed and balancing it. At first there was way too much. In the edited script, he just kind of took a lot out that's in there. But he got much better at
episode 5.
it.
I had to cut down like half of episode 5. First of all, it was way too long. And just abbreviate things, and also like some of the trying to put in too many details created more conflicts than they solved. Like, because I'm terrified always of some biologists listening to our show and being like, that's not how that works, or some scientists being like, that's not how that works. So that's why I'm driven to put in a lot of unnecessary details to show that I've thought about it. But I'm definitely working on that.
It swings around, and we get the people who listen, and they're like, I can't continue. This is exactly like work.
Yeah, we got early on. We gotta review like that, like
from a scientist.
Yeah, it's great, but I do this at work. But I do field work at work, and it reminds me of all the worst parts of it. So
like,
I can't listen.
That's
so points
great.
for realism, and we're like, Okay, that's great. I mean, if you're
Because-
gonna get a bad review, somebody doesn't like it, that's a good. I guess that's a good reason not for them not to like it.
Well, I know a little bit about biology and like maybe a little bit about field work and stuff. I haven't done any myself, so you know, being able to accurately portray that experience is important. Which I guess we did a
Good enough job to be boring to someone who doesn't.
Yeah. Yes, Ricketts can sing, but he never does.
Yeah.
Not since
the incident.
Also, if he sang on the podcast, we'd have to somehow bamboozle Labresco into singing for us.
Ooh, can Zach Labresco sing?
I don't know.
He's okay. Wonderful, so probably.
He could do everything. So, oh man, his pauses are so good. He's like really good at pausing. You guys, like, this is so important.
Jesse is always like, his pauses, they're beautiful.
Yeah. But all of our cast members are beautiful, specifically their voices.
But Jesse especially likes Zach Labresco.
Well, he's a good actor. How would each character? No.
We should probably do like one more question. We'll probably start wrapping it up because it's been going.
Characters in a zombie apocalypse. Do you want to do
that?
Fred definitely lives the longest.
Yeah, but she strikes off on her own.
So eventually she eventually dies because she
dies of old age.
No,
on the top of a skyscraper. While the rest of the world has moved on and cordoned off this area, she's just by herself, killing zombies, but not.
She refuses to cooperate with anyone.
Yeah,
I was gonna say she lives a long time, but then at a moment where it would have been great to have someone else.
Yeah.
To cooperate with her, she ends up being taken out. I'd say Melissa would survive just because she would. I don't know. She just seems she can survive everything.
Yeah, I think that she would be a good unifying force for a group of survivors, or like calming force.
Yeah.
Stevens,
I think
he would stick around for a little while as like a plucky, kind of scrappy character,
but he would die tragically.
Tragically, and half the people would stop watching the show.
Yeah, because Munchkin would die pretty early on doing something stupid.
Oh yeah, he'd do something super stupid.
He would do something really stupid.
He would be like, "Hey, friend that I know, why are you acting so weird?" After already interacting with zombies.
Yeah, or like I could see him like died heroically. We're trying to save just because that almost happens in the show.
Yeah.
That
he gets torn. Regardless, he gets torn apart.
Yeah.
Brutally.
is definitely dead.
Or comes back to life. As
a zombie.
As a zombie, yeah.
Yeah. Ricketts would also die magically. Because he's a mentor figure.
Yes, he would die early on.
So he has to die to motivate.
Yeah, in order to motivate Fred and the rest of them to survive.
Yeah.
The
other characters, we don't need to go to the other characters since they haven't shown up yet.
Yes.
But I would say that Erickson would definitely survive.
Yeah, well, she would be the kind of thing where she strikes off, or they would be the kind of thing where they strike off on their own early on and are like kind of a badass and stuff, but then get into a situation where fairly early on where it's clear that they should have brought some people with them or
yeah. There are some similarities and parallels that are going to be going on with Erickson and Fred, but we're going to get into that in season 2. But
are the aliens mermaids? I mean, no, they're snailians.
Yeah, we should do one. Who wants to ask one more good solid
question in the chat is going to be the question we answer, and
that's
not the aliens on the moon part.
The next one is going to be the last question we answer. Come on, give us something good.
Or else we could just answer one of Liam's questions. which
I mean, one, Pitts is not actually a Scotch person. We could address that.
Yeah,
we decided he doesn't like whiskey. Partially an actor illusion.
What's the most fun part of writing the script?
Writing the script.
That's a question.
The most fun part for me is watching it being written.
Same.
Which can take a while. The most fun part for me in writing the script is seeing it get. Oh, I'm just kind of writing along and doing stuff. I do a couple of usually by hand. I don't like typing it up, which is like the second draft part. I don't like that at all. But I force myself to do it. Otherwise, I would only have one draft. But the best part is seeing it get made because, you know, the actors and also Bridge. And also Ayla, because she helps with directing, just put so much more into it than otherwise would have. And that's really important. And yeah, it's really amazing and beautiful to me to be able to see it turn into something real.
Yeah.
And
I don't write anything, but I like to watch.
You write
I write most of the Patreon extra scenes, mainly to give Jesse the ability to focus on the actual season 2. Yeah, you get it right.
I'm halfway through it. Okay.
Right.
If I write one episode a week,
that hasn't been happening.
No.
Jesse requires me to yell at him a lot.
No, I mean, like, especially now that, like, I feel like in the first season I started out kind of in my own head and, like, trying to make this world that I wanted to see. But then kind of seeing that get made and also interacting with you and with the actors and with Bridge, it really changed the way that I'm seeing it. So, you know, season 2 it's fun to write, but there's also a lot of differences that are making it better, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But it slows it down. And partially, like, you know, I'm always going to get bogged down sometimes. I'm always going to get bogged down sometimes. I'm sometimes going to get bogged down always.
But yeah, we have been doing this for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, we should probably
wrap this up.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for coming in, looking at our dumb live stream.
I was very nervous about it because I was like, my face and my voice and doing things in real time. Scary. But I think it went relatively well.
Yeah. Once we actually got everything up and running and got Bridge on here, because we didn't realize we had to make it so it would be connected through Google Hangouts.
Yeah. I've never done a live stream before, and I've been at work. I've been working.
Yeah, Ayla just got a new job, so she can't work on side stuff all day anymore. I have a full-time job. We do this for fun for the most part. And so thank you for caring about the thing we do for fun.
Yeah, it's amazing
helping us have fun with it.
Yeah, it's amazing the response to this thing we're making. I'm always like, what? When I look at like the stats or the Twitter mentions and everything.
The fact that anybody, you know, that we don't know listens to it.
There are two of our friends in this chat, but everyone else are people who we did not force to listen to. So by nagging continuously, and you guys are amazing for liking and supporting it.
Woo!
Whoa, I'm bad at.
Okay, do we wanna end now?
Bridge, do you have anything to say?
Bridge, you wanna say anything?
just like thanks for listening. And early episodes are really bad, but later episodes I got really good at editing.
Early episodes
and I
are
don't know
perfect.
how the fuck I did.
Bridge, you're a wonderful editor, and we love you.
Yes, we love you, Bridge, and we love you, people in this chat.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna say goodbye forever.
Catch us at PodCon.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be at PodCon. It's gonna be fun.
How do we
stop broadcasting?